Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. Phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. Real quick, today, I just want to give a special shout out. If you're watching on the YouTubes or whatever, you can see on the top right over here, we've got our first official sponsor for the YouTube channel, which I'm really excited about. I've been trying to get Wisconsin companies on board for a long time, and I can't think of a better, granted, I'm shooting for food companies all the time, but I can't think of a better company than Ticket King, which is a Wisconsin-based company, big-time Packer fans based in Milwaukee and Madison that sell Packer tickets. So big shout-out to Ticket King. Obviously, as we get closer and closer to the NFL season, very hopeful that we'll be able to continue this relationship with Ticket King and get you guys a lot of tickets, get some promo codes and whatnot. In the meantime, though, any concerts, anything like that you're going to, be sure to check them out. All right, welcome. Do you plan on tuning into the UFL? My roommate is a Vikings fan, so we figured it would be cool to cheer for the same team. We're going for the Battlehawks. I always forget, man. I always forget. Like, I try to get into it. It's like basketball and baseball. I try to get into it, and then I watch it, and then I don't like it. And so I just let it go. Shout out to Chop Robinson 448. I think that was kind of an expected time, but anyways. All right, let's get to this. Please let me know immediately if you can't hear anything, so I'm not just staring at this like an idiot. No phone numbers on the screen this time. Let's get started with Pedro.
Hey, Ryan, it's me, Pedro, the redhead from Brazil.
Sure.
So, I was just listening to the podcast now that you were talking about the GMs and how people who do mock drafts think they're experts and they're not. And I agree 100%. But I was thinking here about your Excel spreadsheet when you found out Zach Tom. And you know what? I think that maybe sometimes data will give you the answer. It wasn't like that with Zach Tom. He was amazing in almost every single piece of data that you went through.
Right.
And the chances that he would be a good player, it was pretty high compared to the other ones, especially in his case, since he was not a high pick projected, So I want to know, this year, your spreadsheet has some player that is over the top in almost every single aspect, like Zach Tom was? Yeah. If you already did it, let me know. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, sometimes maybe we just overthink it. I'm trying to remember which one it was, if it was Brooks or Wooden last year. I think it was Wooden. But one of those guys was kind of similar. They just dominated every single category. And I think sometimes you overthink it a little bit, and you look at it and say, well, they got these limitations and whatnot. And sometimes they're just good football players, you know what I mean? Let me look real quick. I don't know if SAS has their thing up yet. Probably not. Let me pull it over here so we can look at it at the same time so it's not complete dead air. So see, they still got last year's stuff up here. It will be interesting to kind of look at this because that's where I got it from for Zach Tom. I found out SIS was doing some stuff. And so, you look at, he must have been a tackle. And he was just at the top of almost every single one of these things here. So that's when he kind of went on my radar right away. I started talking about him, got excited about him, et cetera, et cetera. Again, this is all last year's stuff, but that'll be another one to kind of look at. I'm kind of just getting into the data side of things a little bit. I've mostly been trying to watch these guys and starting with the combine. So I've got this monstrosity of a spreadsheet here, essentially just looking at it's a complicated kind of situation, but it is... Daddy! Yes, dear, I'm doing a live thing. What do you need? Nothing. Anyways, I'm just doing... trying to quantify the athleticism rather than just looking at athleticism as a whole, trying to find out what the most valuable ones are, and then grade them based on that. You got a princess there? Oh, your new doll. Should I show everybody your new doll? Okay, here's the new doll, everybody. This is her. There you go. All righty.
It's your sister.
Why don't we get to the new caller so you can listen to something else? Here you go. Here's Trevor.
Hey, Ryan, Trevor, Virginia. Listening right now, and somebody just called in, and they're talking about how they got some sort of tampon ad while listening to your show. And I will just say, if they're like me and they use
You guys
Spotify,
won't let this go.
or I'm guessing most of them actually, the ads are actually targeted per user. Like, we don't all get the same ads. Like, if I listen to your show today and listen to the same show tomorrow, it's gonna be different ads. Like, they inject those based on me. So I have never heard that ad listening to your show. I don't know what, I think it was Kyle Madison, but I don't know what he's into. I don't know, maybe him and his wife share an account or something.
Married,
That's
that's probably what it is.
Getting stuff that way. But, yeah, those are targeted ads.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
if you're hearing stuff like that, it's on you. But, yeah, haven't called in a while.
It's good to hear from you, Trevor.
I'm just waiting for the draft. I'm into the draft, but I'm not really into the mock draft season, honestly. I don't know why. I'm just not. Right, it doesn't help that I have a 3-year-old and a 1-month-old child, so who has time for all that right now? But anyway, still love all the content that you're putting out. Still listening. Go back up.
Yeah, I don't get into the mock drafts as much. It seems counterintuitive. I like the draft. I like looking at the prospects and all that. I think the only thing that's helpful with doing mock drafts is you kind of see your progress, right? Like, I feel like I got this pile of guys that I'm looking at. And you do a mock draft just to kind of see how it's kind of like how well you're able to just communicate what you know, how smooth you are with your information, right? If I'm getting into the second round and I'm already like, who is that freaking guy again? And then you get into the third round and it's like, I know I like this guy. I don't know who these 7 guys are. You got a lot of work to do. I'm kind of to the point where you get to about the 4th round, but at the same time, like, I'm forgetting information every second. So you got to like really stay on top of it. That's why this is good too, just because I don't really care. I don't need to see them running all these stupid drills and whatnot. It's just good to kind of see their name, listen to what people are saying about them. Like, okay, yeah, that's good to know. Like, it's this and that. You kind of get to see, Jalix Hunt. Like, oh yeah, Houston Christian. I remember seeing that on PFF. Houston Christian. He's got that one logo, right? Jalix, weird name. Then you're hearing like how to say these guys' names. Who was one of the guys I heard him talking about? And I was like, oh, that's how you say it. I don't remember. This one's still hilarious. Orororo. But, I mean, it's good. It's good to kind of just make sure that you're kind of up to speed with what you're doing and where you need to kind of work on some stuff. And you can kind of just gauge how far along you are. As far as the targeted ads and whatnot, that's a fair point because I know I've had people message me and say, just so you know, like, I'm in Mexico and I'm getting ads in Spanish. I'm like, I didn't even know I could do that. It's pretty cool. So fair enough. I don't even want to listen to the ads because I don't want to know what I'm going to be targeted with. That sounds like it's a scary thing about ads. They start sending you stuff. It's like, bro, come on, man. What are you trying to say? It's not like that advertisement. All right. Pedro? You there? I don't hear anything. Why am I not hearing anything? Pedro? There we go.
Hey, Ryan,
I don't know why the
it's
last one
me,
didn't work.
Bill to the Redhead from Brazil, man.
What's up, man?
What's up? So I was listening here to your podcast
Hey,
when
John.
you were talking about the RAS scores and what the Packers usually do and not what they won't do. They would never and da-da-da-da-da. I just called to make something really clear. I mean, it's clear for me. I don't know if I'm right, but I think I am. And it's simple. The Packers don't have a hard limit to, the RAS has to be this or has to be that or whatever. I truly don't believe that. What the Packers do is they prioritize the talent and the high ceiling of the players, the potential. That's how the Packers draft. So if the Packers, if you go back, you will see that that's usually why the Packers draft a player that's usually considered a reach. Because that player is usually not in his peak. He's not like NFL ready or whatever, but he has a potential to be a great player and a great value for that pick. I truly believe that that's what the Packers do. And, the physical traits, the RAS or whatever score you want to use, that's a big part of it. Because if you're taller, if you're stronger, if you're faster, yeah, that means that probably you have more potential than someone that has like the same talent level as you, and it's smaller, it's slower, it's weaker, and whatever. So yeah, that's it. That's the only thing. So if the Packers have a RAS score for a player that's like 7, but they believe that he has for some reason a huge potential, they will draft him. That's just it, you know. And I believe that if you go back on several picks, especially Brian Gutekunst's picks, you will see that correlation that, okay, this player, it's not the best player, but he will be because he has potential. It was like that with Love. It was like that with Wade. It was like that with everybody. So, yeah, that's what I believe, and want to know what you think. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I've kind of talked about this a couple times, and I struggle to find the right words to explain what I'm trying to think, but you know, the teams don't pick in a vacuum. They pick up against 31 other teams. And so I think when you see patterns like that, what you're really seeing is sort of the you're kind of getting an idea of how teams prioritize. So if a team happens to like, everybody wants bigger, faster, stronger, right? Everybody wants guys that can do all these things, but how much you prioritize, let's say, speed as compared to other teams means you're going to end up with guys that end up being more athletic. They're not falling to, you know, the Raiders or whatever. It's a terrible example because they're at least, you know, Al Davis days, which, by the way, Packers are from that lineage. So I wonder if that's where the wanting the elite athletes thing comes from. Whatever. The reason that the Packers end up with all the elite athletes, and I think the Bears have a guy I saw, they generally are high RAS teams, is just because they prioritize it more. It's not that they don't like it. So yeah, I mean, they want the upside, and whatever the reason is, I don't know, but they end up just caring more about that than other teams do. So at the end of the day, when you look at the list of players, the Packers are going to end up with more guys that happen to be high RAS than maybe some other teams that just don't care quite as much. Of course, they want it, they like it, but it's not as important. Boy, oh boy, you got to help me here. Takita Copa? Is that right? Takita Copa says, watching live from Mombasa, Kenya, Africa. So I got to ask you, we're talking about ads. I'm hoping you listen to the Packernet podcast over there. Are you getting ads in Swahili over there? Is that a thing, or is that not a thing? Matt Ramage says it's not dark here. Matt, shut up, dude. I tell you what. No, let's do Pedro's other call before we take a break.
Hey Ryan, what's up? It's me, Pedro, the red from Brazil.
What's up, man?
So last night on the live of the Packernet FSR show, you were saying that you didn't choose which kind of products, you know, that were advertising the show anymore, and that got me really surprised because the Portuguese one that
there you go.
It's having not on the show. It's about a supermarket that's selling steaks and giving tips about barbecue. So
yes.
I just want to say that I thought that they're doing a great job, at least here in Brazil, on saying things that it's what we want to hear here, you know, things we talk about. So yeah, just want to tell you that. That's it. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Well, that's fantastic, and we're now using that as a litmus test for what kind of a human being you are. So you are a man that likes barbecue, so now we know that much. But no, I mean, if you hear my voice reading it, that's me, probably most of the time. It doesn't have to be, but most of the ads you're hearing are not anything that I'm selecting. It's not a partnership that I'm working with. The majority of the ads, unfortunately, because when I actually work things out, whether that be from our good friends over here at Ticket King or whatever, they end up being slightly higher paying than ones that just kind of get slotted into like thousands of different podcasts all across, and that's what those are. All right, let's take our first break. We'll come back and hear from the unknown caller. And yes, that's his name.
Hey, Ryan, it's me again, Pedro.
Oh, I don't know why it came up unknown.
we're coming up here to the NFL Combine, and I was looking to some players, and there's 2 players that I want to highlight here, and the 2 of them are wide receivers. I know we probably won't take a wide receiver in the first round. We have depth on the position. I know everything about that. But I do know Luke loves his freaks. And the 2 of these players, which I'm calling Wilson brothers, are amazing. First one is, I don't know, his name like Roman Wilson or something like that from Michigan. This guy is a freak. You were talking about him in the show. I went and looked up some films and stuff, and you know what? The guy is amazing. He will break every single record. If we had some player that we can count to Tyreek Hill, is him. You know, every year there's, oh no, this is the next Tyreek Hill. No. If there's going to be another Tyreek Hill, it's this guy. He's not tall, he's kind of short, but he is fast, he's quick, he's like a superhero, you know? And the other one is Johnny Wilson from Florida. We're talking about a 6'6" dude who is big, tall, and he can run in the 4-4s. You want to talk about mismatch? Just imagine. We have Watson on the side, this guy on the other one, and we have Musgrave running from the middle. It's just too much size and speed for any defense, for any secondary to block. You will have some short dudes, some dude that's not that fast guarding this guy, and you know what? Jordan Love can put that deep ball in their hands. So, yeah, I do think that don't be surprised if in the second round or in the third round, if one of the players, I do believe that the Michigan Wilson will be available, but the Florida one, maybe. And don't be surprised if Goose goes that route because this guy is a freak. So, yeah, that's it. Want to know what you think about this guy? If you already watched the films. If you don't, just put there in your list because trust me, you're not going to get disappointed. So, yeah, that's it. Talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Yeah, one of the positions I got to go back through because it was the first one I did, I think, is wide receiver. But Roman Wilson has gotten so much hype for exactly what you said. His athleticism and whatnot is out of control. I'm actually surprised Johnny Wilson is not getting as much hype. I don't know if it's just people are kind of bored with the 6'6" guys or whatever. You know, if he runs in the 4-4s, I'm sure there will be like an emergence of that. But I haven't really seen a ton of Johnny Wilson hype. It used to be back in the day if you were 6'4" or taller and you ran in the 4-4s or whatever, that was like a big deal. Maybe it's just not anymore. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, definitely Roman Wilson is getting a lot of hype, and I have a feeling if we're in the second round and our pick comes up and he's still there, people are going to be real excited to get him. Although you got a bunch of other fan favorites, Peyton Wilson. I saw Adrian Cooper is really popular. The safeties are all really popular. So we'll see. But yeah, I know Roman Wilson is a really, really talented guy, and I'm excited to go back through the wide receivers and take another look at him. Kyle, what's going on, man?
Ryan, what's up? Kyle from Madison. How are you?
Good.
So, I'm thinking about next year's draft, and I was kind of wondering what everybody would tentatively be planning. I think I can probably only swing one day up there.
Okay.
I'm only 3 hours away, not even. I don't know if I want to spring for a hotel or multiple hotels. It's just close enough, I'm
Right.
kind of cheap. But maybe. We'll see. It seems like, because when is the first round? Is that usually on a Thursday? Is that usually how that works? Thursday night?
I think so. Thursday,
I guess
Friday,
it depends on
Saturday.
everybody's work situation, but, or is it a Friday maybe?
It's one of the two.
That might be cool for the main meetup day just because the draft is until the evening and we could hang out, meet each other during the day, and then go party and watch the pick, in the evening. And I don't know how this would work, but if somehow this was possible, it would be the most entertaining thing. And that would be let's say there's like 12 of us that you talk to fairly often, pick 12. It would be so hilarious to have you have to guess Like if somebody gave you index cards with like,
Yeah.
Kyle from Madison, Omar the firefighter, etc. And you'd have to match without hearing us talk who you think those people are.
That's pretty funny.
And I don't know, maybe like however successful you are, we could donate for a charity or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would even work or if it's even possible, but man, that would be so funny because I know you were talking about this briefly on one of the shows this last week about how people's voices always, are one thing, and then you see them. This always happens with radio personalities too. You see their face, and you're like, "Wait a second,
right?"
You're like some tough shock jock, and then you see them, and then you're like this little thing. You're like, "Wait a second." But that would be really cool. And if that doesn't happen, that's too much prep. Whatever. I do think it'd be cool, and I could even supply these. But we should make some Packernet name tags. So when like people arrive wherever we're meeting up, they can just write their moniker on there if they're a caller, just slap it right on the Packernet name tag. I could even print some of those up and bring them up or whatever, just so we know who each other is. But just wondering. I have a football related question. I'm going to call it back, keep that separate, and let you comment on this.
The name tag thing would be cool, and it's like I've talked about before, where it's you have some kind of an identifier saying like I'm a Packernet listener or whatever. But especially if you're a caller, or some kind of a known figure, you're just cruising through the draft, and you see somebody that says Kyle from Madison. Like, bro, I know Kyle from Madison. I think that'd be pretty cool. It sounds like what we need is a home base, something like an Airbnb or whatever that can operate as a home base. We can record out of it. We can kind of do these kinds of things. We can set up a little thing with cameras and whatnot where we can play these little games where we guess who's who. Stuff like that would be pretty ideal. But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm not sure how that's all going to pan out. The Airbnbs are probably already booked up and sold. We're so far behind the eight ball. People are probably already a couple years out on that.
Hey, Kyle again. So I haven't seen a lot of this particular school of thought since this time last year, but I ran into it this weekend on one of the social medias. I don't even remember which one, and that is the Packers aren't good enough, etc., because they don't have an owner. I thought like this season was maybe the season that could bury that garbage once and for all. I feel like a lot of people use the same tired arguments about the 70s and the 80s, and that just was a different thing, an organizational structure that was different and bogus, and the board of directors literally had to approve Bart Starr's game plan. Okay, it was a toxic
right.
organizational structure that's different. Okay, once that got changed, I think it's pretty obvious that the Packers have a winning formula. Yeah, we all.
I'll be honest. I've never heard anybody talk about that. I would have a hard time not laughing in their face if somebody got into an argument about why it's better to have an owner, and they brought up the 80s or the 70s or whenever that was that they had that structure. I mean, give me a break, man. I mean, that's such a weak argument. But yeah, I mean, that's just foolishness.
More championships, but we have been playing winning football since like 1990, maybe even a couple of years. I guess we had the Mikowski year. Yeah. So we've had like winning records for most of my life, most of everybody's life, probably listening here. So it's just shocking to me when I run into this. And remember last year, a lot of the talking heads were all over this when we were starting to talk about the trade with the Jets. Oh God! And this is the thing that kills me: how there's no accountability for anybody in the media. Because I would sure love to revisit this conversation with all the talking heads that talked so much crap last year about how Joe Douglas is the man and how Woody Johnson is amazing and how the Packers don't have an owner so they can't compete. You were there. You heard all these conversations.
Yeah.
It is the dumbest thing. And I just wish that the national media, we could revisit this because let's look exactly at the Jets-Rodgers trade situation because there is no better illustration of why this is wrong than that entire fiasco.
I mean, I mean, it's so insane even that ever got off the ground. And I understand the media just gets blown with the wind. Like they are just the most pathetically just they just go wherever the wind blows. So I can't really expect them to be rooted in any kind of common sense because there's no roots whatsoever. Again, they just blow wherever. But how does that even get off the ground when you compare the Packers and the Jets organizations? They allowed themselves to convince each other that the Packers have been doing it wrong all these years and the Jets have been doing it right. I mean,
the fact that an owner came in and strong-armed his personnel people to make a decision that is no doubt, unless they come and win the Super Bowl next year, screwed the Jets big time. I don't understand it. Meanwhile, here we are able to sit on quarterbacks where they develop without pressure from an owner that's not a football person. So I just wish we could put this to bed once and for all. Or if we're not going to put it to bed, can we relitigate last year this time? Because boy, howdy, I'm feeling good about that argument. Anyway, talk to you later.
Yeah, and it's almost annoying just that the same people who are just trashing the Packers for years on behalf of Aaron Rodgers, because how dare you not help Aaron Rodgers? How dare you not listen to Aaron Rodgers? How dare you not do all this stuff? Now they just swoop back in, and now they're on the Packers. Oh, Gutekunst is a genius, and Matt LaFleur is a genius, and what a great organization. You know what? Screw you, dude. They've always been a great organization. You bunch of morons forgot that and decided to run with this stupid narrative. And the Jets are doing exactly what you said the Packers should have been doing. And look at them. So now everybody wants to sit and laugh at the Jets. No. You don't get to laugh at the Jets. This was your plan. Okay? You sit there and own it. I think all these media people should be sitting over there with the Jets being laughed at, but instead they're over here like, oh, yeah, the Packers are so smart. I'm smart because I know the Packers are smart, and I'm smart because I know the Jets are stupid. I can't believe what the Jets are doing. They're doing exactly what you said the Packers should have been doing, you bunch of hacks. That's what's going on. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan. Too old for this. The New York Jets aren't even in New York. What makes people think they can do anything right? I don't know. I don't know. Let's take a break. We'll hear from Jersey Mike.
Hey, Ryan, it's Jersey Mike. So, gotta ask you a question.
Not what I do wrong.
Do you remember at one point in the beginning of the season and probably through the middle of this past season, there was this guy that was screaming from the top of the roofs that they just need to make everything simpler. It's too complicated. The guys aren't understanding it. And we just gotta make it simpler. I think I was yelling specifically about offense, but
I was gonna make that comment.
I meant for defense as well. So, Hafley, I like this guy.
Yeah.
I really do. I like his attitude. I like his responses. You can tell this man has been a head coach. You can tell this man has been around for a while, because let's be clear, if our head coach Matt LaFleur talked the way that this guy talks, we'd be absolutely fine with it. Because they both talk the same way. They're both really great communicators. I don't think I felt that when I talked to Joe Barry so much. But then on top of that, Hafley understands, like, fully what the point of football is. He gets that it's a team sport. He gets that you need all pieces working together, and that falls on the coaching staff to say, hey, I know this guy is capable of this. I'm not going to put him in this position unless I'm forced to, right? Because that's not what he's great at. And if I try to make him do something he's not great at, of course I'm setting him up for failure. Right? And as a team leader, it's his job to go out there and set his guys up for success as best as he possibly can. Right? Because Brian Gutekunst can go out there and get the talent, but somebody has got to go out there and help these guys show their talent. Right? Matt LaFleur has done such a great job on offense. Let's be real, all of those rookie pieces, there's a reason that our offense looked so weird at first and then became so electric at the end there. Right? Now, can we have that from our defense? I think we seriously can. Let's get prepared for a defensive draft. I feel like we're going to go a little heavy on it. I feel like we have to. But Hafley's attitude is what I've been asking for all along. Keep it simple. This is, man, unless something crazy happens, this has been the best start to an off season that we've had in years around here in Green Bay. Seriously is. We have nothing but up to look forward to, and we've got the staff to get us there. Go, Pat, go.
I think that was kind of the goal when you look at the offense, you can see exactly what you want, right? Of course it's going to be bumpy. That's what you expect. But the question is, can you be a teacher? Can you communicate to your guys and get them to understand? And then based on what they do and don't understand, can you cater what you do based on what they can do, right? If you got a guy that's talented or a guy that really understands, you put more on his plate and you design your offense in such a way that you help these guys to understand, but simultaneously you redistribute the weight based on what these guys can carry. And Matt LaFleur did a masterful job of that. That's why we went from being kind of a laughingstock and being like, oh crap, this is bad, to by the end of the year thinking, this is one of the better teams in football. This is freaking crazy. And so, we've heard a lot about teacher when it comes to Hafley, and I think that's the point. A guy's record is not the be-all, end-all. So when you go to Joe Barry, everybody was upset about his record. It's like, yeah, but maybe it was the pieces, maybe this, that, or the other. But there was never anything ever that showed that the guy has the ability to make something better. He just never did it. And so that's kind of the goal with Hafley, is a guy that, we need to find a guy that's a teacher, a guy that can get the best out of the guys that he has, a guy that can create a defense that does exactly what Matt LaFleur does, that assesses what we have, gets the best out of the guys that we have, but also understands, like, we got something over here, let's put a little bit more on his plate, right? Whatever. We're going to push him to do multiple things, and then this guy, it's going to be a little bit more simpler reads, simpler this, simpler that, and just designing a defense to be the best that it can possibly be. While again, the priority being make sure that we get them to understand. They might be a little slower getting up to 10, but get them to 10. And I think the contrast between the offense and defense, although the defense had its moments, just the contrast with what they saw with Matt LaFleur, they just said we got to have that on defense. What he did was a masterful job, and we got to find someone that can do that with the defense. And I think, again, what we've heard from Hafley is that. It's teacher and simplifying, but I think that's just part of an overall philosophy, which is helping guys to understand, and by you got to kind of choose what style of football you're going to play, and I think he leans toward things that make it kind of easier for guys to process. It's like choosing a diet that is chooses foods that the body can more easily digest, right? It's just kind of the sort of diet that you lean on, whereas somebody else might look toward more protein and this and that. Yeah, but it can't really break down as easily. Stupid analogy, but you get the idea. So I'm excited. I mean, you never really know until we see these guys, but I think we got exactly what we needed, and that's a guy that I think can at least put the best possible thing on the field. And what we've seen from Brian Gutekunst lately is encouraging. Even if we find out that maybe some of these guys aren't as good as we thought, and maybe maybe Rashawn is on the tail end, or he's fallen off, or whatever, we have reason to believe that we have a GM that's going to be able to find the right pieces, right? And maybe having Hafley there to kind of, oh, look at that. Maybe having Hafley there to help guide the ship in terms of what we're looking for will kind of work in our favor. Bramble, what's up, man?
Hey, Packy. It's Bramble. Long time no call. I guess we chatted.
Either way.
Figured I'd call in because you told me to. The Rashawn Gary cap move restructure, I'm sure it has to do with the way the cap went up this year and the projected growth possibly next year and the year after. I don't know if you talked about it much, but the cap went up significantly more, I think, than people were expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure, which, I mean, kind of belies my point as to why they would do it, but I mean, they do have to re-sign some people, and it seems like maybe, you know, they're positioning themselves to do such a thing. So we may see some pretty active re-signings and some free agency here coming up. But anywho, look forward to listening to the rest of your Guten Kunst podcast. Anyhow, adios.
Yeah, the nickel and diming surprised me a little bit. Like I said, with Rashawn, or who the heck was it that they did that with? Why am I blanking on where that just happened? I don't know. I think it was Rashawn. It had to have been. Or was it Jair? I don't know. But that did surprise me. I saw Preston. They did it with Preston, but I think that was just a pay cut. I haven't really had a chance to look at that yet. I've been kind of pulled in a million different directions. But it surprised me, other than to think, as you said, they're positioning themselves to be able to bring people back. And the biggest one is David Bakhtiari. If they do bring him back, and don't screw with the contract at all. I mean, obviously it's going to be very expensive, but it's the easiest way to have him on the field, and then next year, either you give him a contract, which is going to be significantly lower if you want him to continue to play, or he's done and he's off the books without us having to push money out or screw around or whatever. But that did surprise me a little bit to see how much they've been, again, kind of nickel and diming, just a couple million here, a couple million there. Nico, what's up, man?
Hey, this is Nico from Idaho. I forgot to call in and offer my services.
Okay.
I was going to do this today, and I got busy, and then I forgot, and boom, I just remembered. Yes, if we are going to have some backyard, like Anchorman type back alley brawl, I'm totally in.
Okay.
I know I got like a high-pitched voice, you know, and sometimes people that, you know, you like talk to people for your work, and then you see them a year later, like, oh, I didn't think you looked like that. I get that. I'm kind of a big guy. I'm not huge. I'm like 6'1", like 260. My playing weight was like 235 because that's when I was in shape. You know, I'm over 50, so I got some insulation. You know, a lot of meats coming on in my face. But so yes, I'm down. I'm Italian and Irish, so I like to fight, and, you know, Irish people will fight anyone. Yeah. And then Italian people like to stick you in the trunk and make you sleep with the fishes, you know, like Luca. Anyways, so yeah, I'm down. You know, when I was younger, I lifted weights a little, you know, I was like benching like 400, 19-inch biceps, but not quite that anymore. But, I still make people walk away if I yell at them. That's my talent. That's my thing. And after the brawl, when are we doing this? I forget. I just heard fight and got excited.
I'm sorry.
Was it the draft, the 2000 whatever draft in Green Bay? Then if that's the case, I'm down. Count me in. Afterwards, I'll take everybody out. I know, and you know, all the dudes, yes, there are some characters calling in, you know what I'm saying? I think Scrap It is on all their lists. But afterwards, I'll take everyone out and get everyone a beer. I know, Ryan, you don't drink, but you could be our DD. Everyone needs a DD. In fact, we can call you Pack DD. All right, so that you're now Pack DD anytime there's a brawl. So, yeah, let's do this. And can we can I set the calendar? Is this a sure thing? Are the other podcaster listeners gonna wimp out? I would expect they would, but I don't care. I'll still come in hot. We'll all come in hot and ready to freaking throw some hands. All right, so that's all I have to say. Go Pack Go, yada yada, and hey, bada bing, bada boom.
That was the most excited I've heard Nico ever. Is when he thought we were getting into a fist fight. Let me reiterate, this is not a real thing. So if you go to the draft and you start physically assaulting people who listen to other podcasts or other podcasters in my name or blaming me for it in any kind of capacity, just let's not. All right, I don't even remember how that came up. It was some kind of a hypothetical thing. I think I was just thinking about, like, everybody's got their own group, and it ends up being like what is the thing? when you're a Jet all the way. I don't know. It spiraled. All right, I lost control of this thing, Nico. I'm sorry. I don't want to fight anybody. I'm not. I mean, if something crazy happens, I hope you got my back. I'm just saying. I just don't attack people, Nico. All right. I mean, we'll hang out if it gets crazy. We'll deal with it, but hopefully it doesn't, because I mean it's a Packers thing. Of all places that you would expect to not get super crazy, it would be amongst Packer fans. I'm nervous to play Nico's next call. Please don't get me in trouble.
Oh boy, Ryan, how the heck are you?
I'm great.
Nico. So I called in last night to give my undying affection and support to the death brawl that's clearly going to happen at the draft in 25.
Yeah.
I was very excited. I was thinking of ideas, places to put people. But anyways, and then freaking Jersey Mike called in and stabbed me in the heart, saying he doesn't want to go there. And I don't know, kind of confused now, but I mean, I guess maybe he was just double speaking, because at first he was like, I will not get involved in any altercation. It is not worth it. Maybe his wife listens to the podcast. Or his boss, or his
you need to call him
like
and tell him you're not doing that.
But then he's like, hey, but if stuff goes down, I got you. So maybe I guess I'm wrong. He didn't say he's not going to get involved. We do need to hear from Joe's janitor. I feel like Joe would just enjoy it. Even Trucker Bob,
Joe does talk, or at least he used to talk a lot about getting into physical altercations, especially with young children, beating them up for being stupid and whatnot. But there was a point in time where I felt like the guy had a bit of a temper, so it seems like he might be a good guy to have on your side. I don't know if he's put those days behind him or not, but I'm just saying.
Truckers, he probably hop out of his cab with a couple ARs and just mow some people down. So
I was thinking over the top, trucker arm wrestling, whatever, but also that again getting me in trouble.
Not that I'm advocating the unaliving of anybody, right? Because I would never admit to that.
Definitely.
But I'm Italian, like I mentioned, so I know how to put stuff away. Is that the right way to say it? I know how to clean stuff up.
I'm not Italian, right? So I don't know.
I'm not saying I've ever done that either. I would never admit to that in public. But, maybe it's in the blood, we know where to put stuff. So, also another question. That was kind of dark. So, when I played football, I played mostly offense, played some defense, really liked it, but I just never got a chance because defense was always stacked with starters. And I know the difference between a receiver and a cornerback, because cornerbacks are fast but just can't catch the ball.
Right.
But how do you take a 6'5", 300-pound dude and say, well, you're an offensive lineman and you're a defensive lineman? Is it just that offensive linemen have to be smarter? Because I know you got to be pretty smart to be an offensive lineman, and sometimes the defense you can just say, go get ball, and that works. So I've always kind of wondered what the difference is, and that's kind of what I've gleaned. It's the you got to kind of be smart thing. I don't know if that's entirely true. If there are any other factors, because to do either, you have to be mobile and you have to be able to, have physical attributes that they're all very similar. So is it just the brain thing? So I don't know. I was kind of wondering that. Other than that, I'm just gonna say go Pack though, and don't kill anybody.
Well, I'd probably get in trouble for saying that. Corners are wide receivers that can't catch, and defensive linemen are offensive linemen that, aren't smart. But, maybe. I don't know. Could be. I thought I remember somebody had said something along those lines. I don't know if it was you or if it was an actual adage or whatever, but I doubt it. Because, again, you can't... You can make fun of somebody for about anything when it comes to the draft. They're too short, they're too this, or they don't have long enough arms. But you mention their intelligence, you're in big trouble. So I'm just going to sidestep that one. I probably should play Jersey Mike's call because it might be about fighting again. And, we got to make sure that we're up to date on that. But I'm going to go. We've got only 2 calls, so if we're going to do this again tomorrow, make sure you get your calls in. Otherwise, we'll do it when we do it. Too old for this. I appreciate your engagement, hanging out with the dropping the Office references. But you guys have a good rest of your day. Thanks again to Ticket King, and I will catch you tonight, tomorrow, whatever. Have